Welcome back to Press Review from Levant TV for the 11th of March 2014. Let's start by taking a look at today's front pages in the Middle East. The UAE's Khaleej Times leads its paper following the disappearance of the Malaysian airliner, saying that the massive air and sea search now in its third day have failed to find any trace of the plane or the 239 passengers on board. It also reports that the Arab League Ministerial Council has reiterated the UAE's absolute sovereignty over its three islands, slamming Iran for its continuation of occupying the islands. Israel's Jerusalem Post leads its front page reporting that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu blasted world hypocrisy, saying that there is a flood of condemnation of Israel when it builds a balcony in Jerusalem, but only a drizzle of censure when Iran tries to smuggle long-term missiles into Gaza. It also reports that after nearly 4 years in office, British Prime Minister David Cameron is to make his first visit to Israel this week. Lebanon's Daily Star reads today reporting that the UN says the number of children impacted by Syria's war has doubled in the past year to 5.5 million, many of them trapped in besieged areas and beyond reach. It also reports that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has ruled out any deal with the Palestinians unless they recognize Israel as a Jewish state and give up their refugees' right of return. From Turkey, the Hurriya Daily News reports that Turkey has seen the release of prominent suspects in the Erdogan coup plot case from a prison in Silivri. However, controversy has emerged over the legal authority for the release. It also reports that defense officials in Turkey are beginning to shy away from finalizing a deal with a Chinese company to produce the country's first long-range air and anti-missile system over increasing fears of sanctions by Western powers. And Iran's Tehran Times is today reporting that a veteran politician has said that the enemies are trying to marginalize the Palestinian issue and change the priorities of the Islamic world. It also says that a new report released by UNESCO shows that the Arab world is among the most unequal regions in the world when it comes to gender and education, finding that 100 million women in low and middle income countries were unable to read a single sentence. The Egypt Independent leads today reporting that 24 people have been killed and 25 others injured in a collision between a truck and a public transport bus at Ain Musa power station in Suez. It also reports that a 15-year-old Turkish boy who had suffered a head injury during an anti-government protest in Istanbul last June has died after spending months in a coma, triggering renewed clashes between police and his family's supporters. Now let's take a look at the top Middle East stories in UK papers. Daily Telegraph leads its Middle East section reporting that the Israeli government is set to rush through 3 controversial laws next week which could potentially directly impact the peace talks with the Palestinians. A basic law referendum would instill a requirement for a nationwide ballot, leaving the decision of whether or not to concede land in Israel, the occupied East Jerusalem and the occupied Golan Heights directly with the electorate. The Guardian leads its Middle East section reporting that the Israeli army has said that the Jordanian-Palestinian judge who was shot dead by Israeli troops at the Jordan border tried to snatch a weapon and strangle a soldier. But Palestinian witnesses said the man was shot following an argument over a cigarette in an incident that prompted a furious response from the Palestinian Authority and Amman. Now let's have a look at the top Middle East stories in international papers. From China, the Global Times leads its Middle East section reporting that an Israeli Air Force unnamed aircraft has crashed in southern Gaza, with local media and Hamas-ruled Gaza reporting that the drone crashed east to the city of Rafah, near the Israeli-Egypt border. The Los Angeles Times leads its Middle East section reporting that the passengers traveling on stolen passports on the vanished Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 were Iranians who authorities believe were trying to migrate to Europe. The 2 Iranian passengers in question were traveling on passports that had previously been reported stolen by tourists in Thailand. And finally, the German Deutsche Welle leads its Middle East section, reporting that the streets of Beirut are becoming ever more crowded as the tiny country is flooded with refugees from across the border in Syria. But the government has no official policy or infrastructure in place to deal with them. This is leaving Syrians in a freer but much more precarious predicament than in Jordan and Turkey, for instance, where they are funneled into huge organized United Nations camps that they are often not allowed to leave. For more updates, please visit Levant.tv. That was it for today. Thanks for watching. Be sure to join Carmen tomorrow for another press review, and bye for now.